Go. Yes, bro.
Chapter 5 Karma Yoga Action in Krishna Consciousness. Text 1. Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Shamshasi Yach Shreya Itor Ekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam. Synonyms. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna said, Sanyasam, renunciation, Karmanam, of all activities, Krishna or Krishna, Punaha, again, Yogam, devotional service, Cha, also, Shamshasi, you are praising, Yat, which, Shreyaha, is beneficial, Etayoho, of these two, Ekam, one, Tat, that, may, unto me, Bruhi, please tell, Sunishitam, definitely. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Arjuna said, O Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? Purport. In this fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that work in devotional service is better than dry mental speculation. Devotional service is easier than the latter because, being transcendental in nature, it frees one from reaction. In the second chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and its entanglement in the material body were explained. How to get out of this material engagement by Buddhi Yoga or devotional service was also explained therein. In the third chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. And in the fourth chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. However, at the end of the fourth chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjuna understands that renunciation in knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities. But if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? In other words, he thinks that sannyasam or renunciation in knowledge should be altogether free from all kinds of activity because work and renunciation appear to him to be incompatible. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non reactive and is therefore the same as inaction. He inquires, therefore, whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge. Text 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasah Karma Yogashcha निःश्रेयस्य कर उभाव तस्योस्तु कर्म संन्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते. Synonyms. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Sannyasaha, renunciation of work, Karma Yogaha, work in devotion, Cha also, Nishreyasya Karau, all leading to the path of liberation, Ubhav, both, Tayoho, of the two, but karma sannyasat, in comparison to the renunciation of fruitive work, karma yoga, work in devotion, vishishyate is better. Translation. The Blessed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than the renunciation of works. Purport. Fruitive activities seeking sense gratification are causes for material bondage. As long as one is engaged in activities aimed at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies, thereby continuing material bondage perpetually. Srimad Bhagavatam confirms this as follows. Mm. Right, I'll just read the English. So you can scroll down. People are mad after sense gratification, and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's fruitive activities in the past. Although this body is temporary, it is always giving one trouble in many ways. Therefore, To act for sense gratification is not good. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about the nature of work for fruitive results. For as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. Although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then can one have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4 to 6. Therefore, jnana or knowledge that one is not this material body but spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation. One has to act in the status of spirit soul. Otherwise, there is no escape from material bondage. Action in Krishna consciousness is not, however, action on the fruitive platform. Activities performed in full knowledge strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. Activities performed in full knowledge strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. Without Krishna consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart of a conditioned soul. As long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on the fruitive platform. But action in Krishna consciousness automatically helps one escape the results of fruitive action so that one need not descend to the material platform. Therefore, action in Krishna consciousness is always superior to renunciation, which always entails a risk of falling. Renunciation without Krishna consciousness is incomplete, as is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Renunciation by persons eager to achieve liberation of things which are related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Prabhu, you know how to chant this verse.
I will think of it. Let me think.
It's normal one.
Yeah, let me guess. Let me guess. Is it Govindam Adipurusha?
No, it's normal one. 8 syllable.
Okay, okay. प्रापञ्चिकात्या बुद्ध्या हरिशम्भन्ति वास्तुनः मुमुक्षुभिः पारित्यो वैराग्यं पलुखत्यते. Man, difficult for me to pronounce.
It was good, Prabhu.
You can try. You're the Maharaj here.
No, Prabhu. Did you read the translation? I think.
No, no, no. Can you go a little bit up? I'll just read it again to continue, to have the continuation. Renunciations by person eager to achieve liberation of things which are related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, though their material is called incomplete renunciation. Renunciation by persons eager to achieve liberation of things which are related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although their material are called incomplete renunciation. Renunciation is complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything. One should understand that factually nothing belongs to anyone. Then where is the question of renunciation? Wow. One should understand that factually nothing belongs to anybody. Then where is the question of renunciation? One who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. Since everything belongs to Krishna, everything should be employed in the service of Krishna. This perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi of the Mayavadi school. Wow. Very, very nice purport. Where Prabhupada is actually telling us, he's actually saying that to renounce the material world without grasping a higher taste is actually useless because one is bound to fall down. But to actually understand that everything is Krishna's property and it is to be employed in the service of Krishna, that is actually perfection. And then one cannot fall down because he understands everything is Krishna property and you are serving Krishna. That is actual renunciation. So that is why Prabhupada is saying here, the perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi of the Mayavadi school. Very nice, very nice. Haribol. Yes, Prabhu. Text 3. Hare Krishna, Pranjal Prabhu, Akshadip Prabhu, Vivek Prabhu is there already. Hare Krishna, Akshadip Prabhu and Pranjal Prabhu, Dhanar Pranam, all goes to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Standard Pranam, Jai Shri
Thank you so much for joining, Prabhu. Akshadip Prabhu, please ask your brother to also join. Haribol. Yes. Text 3. ज्ञेयः स नित्यसन्न्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न काङ्क्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते. Synonyms. Gyaha should be known. Saha, he, Nitya, always. Sannyasi, renouncer. Yaha, who, na, never. Dveshti, abhors. Na, nor. Kanshati, desires. Nirdvandvaha, free from all dualities. He, certainly. Mahabaho, O mighty armed one. Sukham, happily. Bandhat, from knowledge. Pramuchyate, completely liberated. Just before this, we'll just ask, oh, Pranjal Prabhu, I said, I hope banana shake is allowed today. Yes, Prabhu, banana shake is allowed, but just be careful that all the utensils are very nicely washed so that they don't even have a single drop of grain. And if you're using sugar and salt or oil, of course, I know you won't be using oil, but I'm just saying you should use a completely new packet for Ekadasi, which you should buy only for the Ekadasi day. Yeah, right. Translation: one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, liberated from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. Long notes, huh? Audible. So many notes you have. All right. Purport. One who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desire for the results of his action. Such a renouncer dedicated to transcendental loving service of the Lord is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. Hmm. Such a renouncer dedicated to transcendental loving service of the Lord is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole and that he is part and parcel of Krishna. Such knowledge is perfect because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. The concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect because the part cannot be equal to the whole. Knowledge that one is one in quality yet different in quantity is the correct transcendental knowledge leading one to become full in himself, having nothing to aspire nor to lament over. There is no duality in his mind because whatever he does for Krishna. Being thus freed from the platform of dualities, he is liberated even in this material world. So, somebody who is in perfect Krishna consciousness, he's free from this duality of this material world and he's liberated while even though he's still in the material world because he's serving Krishna, like Sami Prabhu. There is no duality in his mind because whatever he does for Krishna. Being thus freed from the platform of duality, he's liberated even in his staying in the material world. Nice.
Yeah.
An example is Sami Prabhu, Right. Text number 4. Sankhya Yogau Prithag Bhalaha Pravandanti Napanditaha Ekam Api Ashtitha Samyag Ubhayor Vindate Phalam Sankhya. Sankhya, analytical study of the material world. Yoga, work in devotional service. Pritak, different. Balaha, less intelligent. Pravadanti, do talk. Na, never. Panditaha, the learned. Ekam, in one. Api, even though. Ashtitaha, being situated. Samyak, complete. Ubayoho, of both. Vindate, enjoys. Phalam, result. Translation: only the ignorant speak of karma yoga and devotional service as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. Hmm. Purport. The aim of the analytical study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of the material world is Vishnu or Supersoul. Devotional service to the Lord entails service to the Supersoul. One process is to find the root of the tree, and next to water the root. The real student of Sankhya philosophy finds the root of the material world, Vishnu, and then, in perfect knowledge, engages himself in service of the Lord. Therefore, in essence, there is no difference between the two because the aim of both is Vishnu. Those who do not know the ultimate end say that the purpose of Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not the same. But one who is learned knows the unifying aim in these different processes. Any other devotees would like to read? Hare Krishna Drona Prabhu, Dandar Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada. Thank you for joining Drona
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Prabhupada.
Thank you for joining. Please join regularly. Any other devotees would like to read?
I
Uh,
Indeed, bro.
okay.
yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, bro. Yatsankhya prapyate sattanam tadyogir api tadyogir api gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sa pashyati. Synonyms: yat, what, sankhya, by means of sankhya philosophy, prapyate, he is achieved, satanam, place, tat, that, yogihe, by the devotional service, api, also, gamyate, one can attain, ekam, one, sankyam, analytical study, cha, and yogam, action in devotion, cha, and yaha, one who pashyate, sees, saha, he pashyati, actually sees. Translation: one who knows that the position reached by means of renunciation can also be attained by works in devotional service, and who therefore sees that the path of works and the path of renunciation are one, sees things as they are. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The real purpose of philosophical research is to find the ultimate goal of lives. Since the ultimate goal of life is self-realization, there is no difference between the conclusions reached by the two process. By Sankhya philosophical research, one becomes one minute, bro. Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro. By Sankhya philosophical research, one comes to the conclusion that a living entity is not a part and parcel of material world, but of the supreme spirit soul. Sorry, but the supreme spirit whole. Consequently, the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material world. His actions must be in some relation with the supreme. When he when he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is actually in his constitutional position. In the first process of Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter, and in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna. Factually, both processes are the same. Although superficially, one process appears to involve detachment and the other process appears to involve attachment. However, detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see, sorry, one who can, one who can see this sees things as they are. Text 6. Sannyasatu mahabhaho dukkam aptum ayogatha yoga yukto munir brahma cha shri re. Sorry, how to spell this, rules? Na nachir nandi gachati. How to spell that, bro?
Achirayanadi gachati.
Okay. Nachirenadhikachati.
Om.
Okay, thank you. Synonyms. Sannyasa, the renounced order of life. Two, but Mahabaho, O mighty on one. Dukkham, distress. Aptum, to be afflicted with. Yogataha, without devotional service. Yoga Yukta, one engaged in devotional service. Munihi, thinker. Brahma, supreme, now without Chirena, delay. Gachati, attains. Translation. Unless one is engaged in devotional service of the Lord, mere renunciation of activities cannot make one happy. The sages, purified by works of devotion, achieve the supreme without delay. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are two classes of sannyasis or persons in the renounced order of life. The Mayavadi sannyasi are engaged in the study of Sankhya philosophy, whereas the Vaishnava sannyasis are engaged in the study of Bhagavatam philosophy, which affords the proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. The Mayavadi sannyasis also study the Vedanta Sutras but use their own commentary called Sharirakha Bhashya, written by Shankaracharya. The students of the Bhagavata school are engaged in devotion service of the Lord. According to Panchatatriki regulations, and therefore the Vaishnava sannyasis have multiple engagements in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Vaishnava sannyasis have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various activities in their devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi sannyasis engaged in the studies of Sankhya and Vedanta and speculation cannot release transcendental service of the Lord because their studies become very tedious. They sometimes become tired of Brahman speculation, and those they take shelter of the Bhagavatam without proper understanding. Consequently, their study of the Srimad Bhagavatam becomes troublesome. Dry speculations and impersonal interpretations by artificial means are all unless for the sorry means are all useless for the Mayavadi sannyasis. The Vaishnava sannyasis who are engaged in devotion service are happy in the discharge of their transcendental duties, and they have the guarantee of ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. The Mayavadi sannyasis sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization, and again they enter into material activities of a philanthropic and altruistic nature, which are nothing but material engagements. Therefore, the conclusion is that those who are engaged in Krishna consciousness are better situated than the sannyasis engaged in simple Brahman speculation, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births. Hare Krishna, Gyani Prabhu, please accept my obeisance of Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Guru Shakti.
Hare Krishna, dear Prabhus, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining, Prabhu.
Hare
Yes.
wants to continue.
Guru Shakti, Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, I can read a small verse.
Yes, Prabhu.
Is it small or because I need to drive then?
Yes, Prabhu, it's more.
Okay, I will. So it's the number. What is the number of the verse,
5-7.
please? Okay, thank you. Yoga yukto vishudatmam vijitatma jitendriyam salva bhutatma bhutatmam kalvanapi nalipyate.
Prabhu.
Yoga yuktaha, engage in devotional service. Vishudatma, a purified soul. Vijita atma, self-controlled. Jita, indriya, having conquered the senses. Salva Bhutta, Atma Bhutta, Atma, compassionate to all living entity. Kulvan, happy, although engaged in work, never. Lipiate is entangled. Translation: one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Purport: one who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is very dear to him. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and the branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches. Or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna, nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matter other than the service of the Lord. He does not like to hear anything except topics relating to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna. And he does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. One may ask, why then was Arjuna offensive in battle to others? Wasn't he in Krishna consciousness? Arjuna was only superficial offensive because, as has already been explained in the second chapter, all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually as the soul cannot be slain. So, spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjuna, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reaction of work. Jai. Libo. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Ribo, thank you so much, Gaurashakti Prabhu. Okay, Ribo, let's read a few more. Okay, I can try this one. Text number 8 and 9.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila
Namaste,
Prabhupada.
Vandanatam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining, Prabhu. Naiva kinchit karomiti, naiva kinchit karomiti, to manyata tattvavid pashyan srinvan sprishan jikran ashnan gachan svapan svashan pralapan visrijan grihnan unmishan nimishan api indriyani indriyarthesu vartanta iti darayan. Word. Na, never. Eva, certainly. Kinchit, anything. Karomi, do I do. Iti das yuktaha, engage in the divine consciousness. Manyata, thinks. Tadvavit, one who knows the truth. Pashyan, by seeing. Srivan, by hearing. Sprishan, by touching, Igran by smelling, Ashnan by eating, Gachan by going, Svapan by dreaming, Svashan by breathing, Pralapan by talking, Visrajan by giving up, Grihnan by accepting, Unmishan opening, Nimishan closing, Api in spite of Indriyani the senses, Indriyarteshu in sense gratification, Vartante let them be so engaged, Idi das Darayan. Considering. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, opening, or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Purport. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon five immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation. So here they are listed: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free even though he appears to be engaged in things of the senses. Activities such as seeing, hearing, speaking, evacuating are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord. Okay, who wants to read the next one?
Hare Krishna, bro. Can we?
Yes, Prabhu.
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा करोति य लिप्यतेन स पापेन पद्मपत्रम् इवाम्बसा. Brahmani, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adhaya, resigning unto, Karmani, all works, Sangam, attachment, Tiktva, giving up, Karodi, performs, Ya, who, Lipyade, is affected, Na, never, Sa, he, Pabena, by sin, Padma Patram, lotus leaf, Iva, like, Ambasa, in the water. Translation. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme God, is not affected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Purport. Here Brahmani means in Krishna consciousness. The material world is a sum total manifestation of the three modes of material nature, technically called the Pradhana. The Vedic hymns Sarvam Edad Brahma Tasmadetad Brahma Nama Rupam Annam Cha Jayade, and in the Bhagavad Gita, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma, indicate that everything in the material world is the manifestation of Brahman, and although the effects are differently manifested, they are non-different from the cause. In the Ishopanishad, it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that therefore everything is engaged in the service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body, being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of an, can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is beyond contamination by sinful reactions, exactly as the lotus leaf, though remaining in the water, is not wet. The Lord also says in the Gita, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya, resign all works unto me, Krishna. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of material body and senses, but a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna.
Haribol. Okay, you can read
Great.
more, Prabhu. Or does someone else want to read? Zero Prabhu or Amit Prabhu, Drona Prabhu, who has not, oh Rahul Prabhu also. Tandat Param, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Let's read two more.
Krishna Prabhuji, then with Jai Shri Prabhupada. I can read for 5 minutes.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Now my voice is much better. Kaina manasa buddhya kevalir indriyer api yogi yogina karma kurvanti sorry sangyam tattva shuddhaya taktatma shuddhaya. Sorry. Synonyms: kaina with the body, manasa with the mind, buddhya with the intelligence, kevalya purified, indriya with the senses, api even with yogina the Krishna conscious persons, karma actions, kurvanti they act, sangam attachment, tyaktva giving up atma self, shuddhaya for the purpose of purification. Translation: the yogis abandoning attachment act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses only for the purpose of purification. Uh, Purport. By acting in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the senses of Krishna, any action, whether of the body, mind, intelligence, or even of the senses, is purified of material contamination. There are no material reactions resulting from the activities of a Krishna conscious person. Therefore, purified activities, which are generally called Sadachar, can be easily performed by acting in Krishna consciousness. Sri Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes this as follows. Iha yasya harir dasya karmana manusa gira nikhilasva api avasthashu jivan mukta sa uchyate. A person acting in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, in the service of Krishna with his body, mind, intelligence, and words, is a liberated person, even within the material world, even although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities. I remember, Prabhu, this when through this short forms they call BMW. It's a car, German car, body, mind, words. So we need to have, everybody can have this BMW, body, mind, words. Intelligence is also there. So, yeah, BMW. Sorry if it was distraction. He has no false ego, nor does he believe that he is this material body, nor that he possesses the body. He knows that he is not this body, and this body does not belong to him. He himself belongs to Krishna, and the body too belongs to Krishna. When he applies everything produced of the body, mind, again it came. Intelligence is, of course, there. Body, B, mind, M, W. Many more things are there. Life, wealth, etc. When whatever he may have within his possession to Krishna service, he is at once dovetailed with Krishna. He is one with Krishna and is devoid of the false ego that leads one to believe that he is the body, etc. This is the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness.
Prabhu. Okay, you can read one more, Prabhu. If you want,
Okay.
others can also.
Yeah, sure. It's all right. Text 12:13, let's skip. युक्त कर्म फलम त्यक्त्वा शांतिम अपनोति नैष्टिकम अयुक्त कर्म कारण फल सक्तो निबद्धते. Yukta, one who is engaged in devotional service Karma phalam, the results of all activities, tyaktva, giving up, shantim, perfect peace, apnoti, achieves, nashtikim, unflinching, ayukta, one who is not in Krishna consciousness, kama karina, for enjoying the result of work, phale, in the result, sakta, attached, nibadyate, becomes entangled. Mm. Translation: the steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me, a person, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. Um, Purport. The difference between a person in Krishna consciousness and a person in bodily consciousness is that the former is attached to Krishna, whereas the latter is attached to the results of his activities. The person who is attached to Krishna and works for him only is certainly a liberated person. And the cause of anxiety over the result of an activity is explained as being due to one's functioning in the conception of duality, that is, without knowledge of the absolute truth. Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. In Krishna consciousness, there is no duality. All that exists is a product of Krishna's energy, and Krishna is all good. Therefore, activities in Krishna consciousness are on the absolute plane. They are transcendental and have no material effect. One is therefore filled with peace in Krishna consciousness. One who is, however, entangled in profit calculation for sense gratification cannot have that peace. That is the secret of Krishna consciousness, realization that there is no existence besides Krishna is the platform of peace and fearlessness. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhu, thank you so much, Prabhu. Amit Prabhu, are you free?
Yes, Prabhu, I'm free.
Hey Prabhu, can you read one more verse?
Yes, Prabhu. सर्वकर्माणि मनसा सन्न्यस्यास्ते सुखं वशि नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन्. Sarva, all, karmani, activities, manasa, by the mind, sannyas, giving up, as aste, remains, sukham, in happiness, vashi, one who is controlled, navadware, in the place where there are 9 gates, pure, in the city, dehi, the embodied soul, na, never, eva, certainly, kurvan, doing anything, na, not, karayan, causing to be done. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. Purport, the embodied soul lives in the city of 9 gates. The activities of the body or the figurative city of body are conducted automatically by the particular modes of nature. The soul, although subjecting himself to be condition to the conditions of the body, can be beyond those conditions if he so desires. Owing only to forgetfulness of his superior nature, he identifies with the material body and therefore suffers. By Krishna consciousness, he can revive his real position and thus come out of his embodiment. Therefore, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, one at once becomes completely aloof from bodily activities. In such a controlled life, in which his deliberations are changed, he lives happily within the city of 9 gates. The 9 gates are described as follows. नवद्वारे पुरे देहि हमशो लेलायते बहिः वशी सर्वस्य लोकस्य स्थावरस्य चरस्य वा च. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is living within the body of a living entity, is the controller of all living entities all over the universe. The body consists of nine gates, two eyes, two nostrils, two ears, one mouth, the anus, and the genital. The living entity is in his conditioned stage. It identifies himself with the body. But when he identifies himself with the Lord within himself, he becomes just as free as the Lord, even while in the body. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is free from both the outer and inner activities of the material body.
Oh, okay, one more, Prabhu. Yeah, this is short one.
Okay, bro. न कर न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. न never कर कर्तृत्वान कर्तृत्वम proprietorship न nor कर्माणि activities lokasya of the people srijati creates prabhu the master of the city of the body na nor karma phala results of activities samyogam connection swabhavah modes of material nature to but pravartate acts. Translation: the embodied spirit, the master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Purport: the living entity, as will be explained in the seventh chapter, is one in nature with the Supreme Lord, distinguished from matter, which is another nature called inferior of the Lord. Somehow, the superior nature of the living entity has been in contact with this material nature since time immemorial. The temporary body or material dwelling place which he obtains is the cause of varieties of activities and their resultant reactions. Living in such a conditional atmosphere, one suffers the results of the activities of the body by identifying himself in ignorance with the body. It is ignorance acquired from time immemorial that is the cause of bodily suffering and distress. As soon as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, he becomes free from the reactions as well. As long as he is in the city of the body, he appears to be the master of it. But actually, he is neither its proprietor, or nor controller of his actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of the material ocean, struggling for existence. The waves of the ocean are tossing him, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. That alone will save him from all turmoil.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, now we'll read the six Astakam prayers. चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमः दावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नाम्नामकारी बहुड़ा निज सर्वशक्तिस् तत्रार्पिता नियमितः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवम् ईदृशम् इहाजनीनानुरागः.
तृणादपि सुनिश्चयेन तरोरपि सनुना अमानिना नदेन कुर्यां सदा हरि
तनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतद्भक्तिरहैतुकी
मयि नन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतितां मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कज स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय
नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति
युगा इदं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रविश्य इदां शून्या इदं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां पिनष्टु माम् अदर्शनान् मर्म हतं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु दम्पतो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः.
Haribol, glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, when your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings and those who have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda in these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the street in the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree devoid of all the senses of this false prestige and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord consistently.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
Oh my Lord,
O son of
when
yes, Prabhu, carry on.
oh no Prabhu, you
Okay, so O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with the tears of loving flow consistently? When I chant your holy name, when will my voice choke up, and when will the hair of my body stand on, and at the end, this is the realization of your name.
O Govinda, feeling your
Oh
separation.
Govinda,
Yes, Prabhu, please continue.
yeah, sorry, Prabhu. Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am constantly considering a moment to be a 12 years or more. Two tears are flowing from my eyes like a torrent of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one
I
but
know no one but
oh,
sorry, bro. Prabhu, you read. Hare Krishna.
I
Sorry
know
for
no one
interrupting.
but
Okay,
Krishna
Prabhu.
is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He's completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Haribol, Sri Sikastakam Ki Jai. Okay, 10 offenses to the holy name. First offense to blaspheme the devotees who had dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu.
To
Third
disavoid the
offense,
orders of the spiritual master.
To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in Persians to the Vedic version.
fifth offense, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
To give some interruptions to the holy name.
Seventh offense, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
It offends to consider chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as active activities Karmakanda.
To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy.
10th offense, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Let us offer our humble obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desired trees who can fulfill all desires and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls.
वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Nanda
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Vāsakalpatarubhyascha
Krishna.
कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Please forgive me, Prabhu, for making any
Thank you.
mistakes while reading. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for everyone of joining. It was a really nice reading session. Tomorrow,
All praise to assembled devotees.
Prabhuji.
Jai
Thank
Sri
you,
Thank you.
Prabhu, for
Jai
conducting the
Krishna.
session. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare